Welcome to Holding Space. Michael Zen is a visual producer and creative photographer using his imaginative visionary energy to channel Zen and hold space for spiritual and innovative discussion. Each episode creates a supportive, accepting, and open environment that allows exploration and expertise to come together with engaging and entertaining convergence. With guest and community all helping the shape of the way, Michael is grateful to be together to hold space. Now here is your host of Holding Space, Michael Zen.
Yes, here I am, your host. Here's your host, Michael Zen. I like the way Todd says that. I am your host. I'm the host of Holding Space. I am holding space. That means it's Tuesday. That means I have an amazing guest. That means I have an amazing audience showing up. Already I see Arnie Layton in the front row. He's always early to these things. It's always good to see him here and ready to support. Good to see you, Arnie Layton. And also reminding me to tell you, if you are watching, just type in something in the comments. Hashtag live is like the thing that we do to tickle the algorithm, right? Because if you make a comment, the algorithm says, ooh, somebody's watching, somebody's enjoying it. Maybe I'll put it in somebody else's feed. That's how that works. And that's how this community grows. So thank you, Arnie, for hashtag live. And thank you, Sarah. What's up, Sarah? Good to see you. Sarah Steiger is here. Good to see you too. Again, my name is Michael Zinn. This space is specifically for holding and creating some energy. I was actually thinking before the show of coming on and being like, hello, brothers and sisters, but I think I'm just going to say hello, loves. Hello to my loves, everybody out there. No pronouns, just love. Hello, loves. And Sarah's asking if we are doing readings. We are going to be doing readings later. We're holding some space for my guest. What's up, Jennifer McCormick? To find out exactly who she is. And I'm going to introduce her now. So Kristine Michelle is a healer, a psychic, divine guidance, healing messages, always love. This is on her website. In our time together, I hold sacred space with compassion and deep respect for your journey. That's an amazing start right there, right? As a medium, healer, mentor, and intuitive health and life coach, my work is grounded in love, elevated by spirit, and always guided by your highest good. Right on target for this show and this community, whether connecting with loved ones who have passed, receiving messages from your spirit team, or spiritually coaching, I listen with an open heart as a channel to bring forth validation, insight, and healing. What a perfect guest. That's exactly what we love to do here. I just realized, though, as my guest is waiting, as I just introduced her and gave her a nice introduction from her website, that I forgot to do 3 breaths. I don't know how I forgot. I just got excited because my guest was here. Everything was happening. Evelyn feels like a porcupine today, so maybe that was what I was feeling. So let's just do that before I bring on Kristine. Let's do the 3 breaths. As I remind everybody, my co-host Sage is here to help guide the 3 breaths. And for those of you who know, hang on a second, because I'm going to explain to those who don't know what the 3 breaths are. The 3 breaths are breath. It's life-giving. You're doing it all day long. It's keeping you alive, but you're not thinking about it. You're just doing it while you're doing your other stuff, running on the hamster wheel and breathing. But what I like to do is 3 breaths intentionally, thinking about the breaths, experiencing the breaths, putting intention and energy into the breaths of clearing out the space. And that's it. And it's only 3 of them. It takes less than 60 seconds. Let's do it together with Sage. We do it in through the nose. So in through your nose. Up at the top, I just hold it for a second, and then I just intentionally let it out, and I feel my shoulders sink. I feel my butt in the chair a little bit, and then I'm going to do another breath in through the nose, up to the top, and then exhale and feel it just release everything you don't need. You don't need it, so release it. All right, one more breath together. In through the nose, up to the top. Hold it for a second, and then just let this last one out. Feel it all the way. Let it out all the way. Feel your shoulders sink into the chair a little bit. I don't know if you hear that. I turned off the sound noise reduction, so hopefully it doesn't duck it out as much as it used to. But there you go. Thank you for that. Anyway, so I gave you the lowdown on who Kristine was, and we love people who are connected to source in their own way. A lot of them happen to be psychic mediums, and we love messages and all of that stuff. So yes, and we are going to be probably doing some readings a little bit later, but let's first meet Kristine Michelle. Welcome to the show, Kristine. Add to the stage. There we go. How you doing, Kristine?
Hey, Michael. Thanks for having me. So great.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. I appreciate your time, and I love holding space, especially for people I don't know. Lately, it's been really cool. Kelly's been booking some people that I don't know, and this way, I get to know you as the same time as my audience gets to know you, which I think is pretty cool. So I read a little bit of a bio off of your website. Why don't you tell me how this all happened? I know that a lot of the mediums, some people know it from a young age. Some people have a traumatic experience. What's Kristine's story?
What's my deal?
Yeah.
First, I want to say that you changed your words to love, and I laughed because I call people honey or love, and I was like, oh yeah, that's why.
There you go.
I definitely
felt
lead
it.
with love. Yeah, that's beautiful. And the breath work, I just so appreciate that so much, because
Awesome.
Everything comes back to the breath. Yeah, and spirit is right there with you in the breath.
Totally.
So
and it's so easy.
Yeah, right.
It's like the best way to start my show. So thank you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I run a circle on Monday nights, and we always start with I always lead a meditation, and we always start with breath, and it's beautiful. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for your comment. I love it. So me, it's kind of a long story, but I'll try and condense it.
Okay.
I have always been a highly sensitive person from the moment I can remember, from when I was younger. I always felt like I was never, I never felt by myself. I always felt like someone was there, even though I couldn't see them.
Good way to put it. I like that.
Yeah, it's like I always had this sense that I had people around me. I was never alone, so I was good at being on my own and playing or doing what I needed to do.
But the way you said it was like very welcoming, not like scary, right? Like I was never alone. I was always with friends. It almost sounded. Yeah.
And it's like, how kids have imaginary friends. Like I never had imaginary friends, but I felt like I just was always contained with people, and just comfortable. I've always been drawn to nature. Nature is my thing. I grew up in a small town and just super, super connected to nature. I do barefoot walking and all the things.
I love that.
Yeah, I live by the ocean, so I'm very connected to the ocean and the water. But I would say my journey really, where do I start? I was a Christian for 25 plus years. And so I think my mediumship honestly started in that journey, because when I prayed over people, I would get, visions, messages, words, and I would often leave people just dumbfounded, jaw dropped, crying. And then I would be like, oh, I don't really know what to do with this. I'm so sorry. This is a message from spirit, from God. And so that kind of started there. And I've always had a divine connect. I've always been drawn to source, always. Hi, Brenda. And so then I ended up at one point about 8 years ago, I ended up leaving the church. And it was every time I went, I left feeling angry and anxious. And it was really profound for me, because I loved church. I loved my church community. So I was like, what? And I knew there was a reason. And so I sat with God and I sat with source, and I was like, what? Why? And so the answer that I got was it's holding you in, it's boxing you in. And it's more expensive. I'm more expansive than that. I'm bigger than that. And so I listened diligently. even though some people may not have been happy.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then fast forward, about a year and a half later, I was running in a forest by my home, and I'd ran all the time. I was super fit, and I felt this odd sensation go up the back of my head. And instantly, it was like I heard stop running. And so I stopped running, and I got back to my car, but it was labored. And unfortunately, I was quite a distance from my car because I used to do 10Ks all the time, like no big deal.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so got back to my car that evening. I was not feeling awesome, but I was okay. Nothing to go to the hospital about. But the next morning I woke up and I was having trouble walking. And I kept falling to the left. And between that morning and that evening, by the time the evening came, we always had a walk after dinner with our children when they were younger. And I couldn't keep up. Like it was like I was telling my legs to walk, but my legs wouldn't move
Wow.
properly. 2 weeks into that experience of me going to different doctors and the hospital or whatever, it got so bad that I couldn't stand up. I couldn't breathe. I kept falling. I couldn't hold anything. I was stuttering. I had severe pain. I was losing, within 2 weeks, I'd completely been paralyzed from the hip down on one side in my left
Wow.
leg, and I had drop foot. And so I got an MRI, and I was immediately diagnosed with progressive MS. And they told me within 6 months, you're going to be full-time in a wheelchair probably.
Oh
So
my goodness.
yeah, they pulled me into the separate room, and I was like, oh, I know this room. This is not a good thing.
Oof. Yeah.
And so
Wow.
they told me I would not be walking. So thankfully, that wasn't the case. I didn't have MS. I ended up going eventually to see some specialists. And about 5 months later, I was diagnosed with a neurological condition that basically means that my brain isn't speaking to my body properly. So something happened and my lobes aren't speaking and communicating with my body accordingly. So
Mhm. Mhm.
it progressively got worse. Hi, Dolores. To having, oh, hi from Canada. I'm in Canada too. I'm on Vancouver Island, Andrea,
I
in
love that.
BC. Yeah. So yeah, it basically progressively got worse to seizures, sometimes full body paralysis.
Oh wow.
I walked like I had Parkinson's. I had a stutter. I had a tremor. I couldn't stand for more than, say 3 minutes at a time. I couldn't
Wow.
speak. I couldn't speak without laying down. I couldn't talk unless I was laying down.
Holy moly. Wow.
And severe pain, severe insomnia, seizures, paralysis, like sometimes full body paralysis where I called it the starfish, right? Lay and just stare at the ceiling.
Wow. Yeah. And this all stemmed from that feeling that you
Yes,
had.
yeah. So they're not exactly sure where it started. I also had exposure to mold, and I also was diagnosed with Lyme, long-term Lyme. So I think it was like the straw that broke the camel's back for my nervous
Okay.
system.
Okay.
So in that time, because I was so close to God, at that time, I heard like, this is your awakening and your spiritual awakening. And I was like, I didn't understand what that meant at the time.
Mhm.
And when you are so incapacitated, like I had heart problems, like I had to wear a heart monitor, like, just I couldn't play with my children. I couldn't be a mom. I couldn't work.
Wow.
I instantly lived in my house and got out, I had a wheelchair, I had a walker. And that
Holy
was going
moly.
from being like an athlete. Like I used to,
All
teach.
within a couple of weeks or a couple of months?
Yeah. So it started right away, but it basically just progressively got worse
Wow.
over a couple of months.
Oh my goodness.
I used to be a dancer, performer, like it was wild.
Wow.
So when you're trapped in your home and all you can look at is your four walls and stare through a window and look at the birds outside, it really changes your perspective on life and your relationship with source and self. So I knew that was part of it. So fast forward, it was like a gentle expansion. I did a lot of remote viewing of myself, which I didn't know what I was doing at the time. Astral projection. I did a lot of dissociating, they call it. learned a lot about, I just really sat with source. Fast forward to 5 years into the illness, getting progressively better. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah. God is amazing. I'll talk more about that. But and so 5 years into it, I had a period of 1 month where I had what happened was my boyfriend at the time came to my house and found me because my husband and I split through the process of all of this. I was a single mom, and so he came home at the time, and he found me passed out on the bathroom floor and
Oh,
from
wow.
seizure. And so that started an entire month of having up to 15 seizures a day and nothing helping me. So no seizure rescue meds, nothing was helping, like nothing was working that had previously worked before. And I don't remember most of the month. I was in and out of the hospital. They couldn't figure out what to do with me. And my seizures are very long. They're not short.
Oh, wow.
And so at the end of the month, I just said, like, Spirit, because at that point I'd kind of like woken up to a lot of, and changed kind of my vocabulary. I said, in the midst of a seizure, because often I'm awake during my seizures, but I'm trapped in my body. I said, like, God's source, like, whatever, I need you to either take me now, like, I can't do this. I just can't do this anymore. Or you need to tell me right now why I'm here and what my purpose is. And I heard a clap sound, and I started seeing past lives and flashes and words of like telling me like what my job is here. And it was wild. And I recall getting up after the seizure. I got myself to the bathroom. I looked in the mirror, and I felt like I saw a different person. Like it was like I was like, I know that I'm you, but like something shifted,
Okay.
And then after that, I tell people that I drank from the spiritual fire hose for 4 months straight, not by choice. Intense downloads all day long. All night, I just had spirit shivers, crazy spirit shivers. I would wake up and I would hear singing over me. I saw light, which I know is light codes now, but I saw these symbols coming into my body.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't understand it. I thought I was going crazy. Like I legit went to the doctor and was like, can you like check me? Cause I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And
that's crazy.
And I had a hard time being outside of my house in the world because I just felt so foreign and just, it was different. Anyways, and that's when I started fully like channeling and bringing through loved ones for people. And it started with my boyfriend's mother who'd passed about 6 months prior. And I woke up in the night and I saw her in my mind's eye down beside the bed holding his hand. And she started talking to me and giving me a message. And I said, you need to help me remember this because this is so much. I won't remember this. And she did. And it was an entire paragraph and I have it still.
Wow.
And he just started crying. He's like, how did you know this? Like, how did you? And so basically from then on, I started like often during the day would send messages. Are you open to a message? Because people would come to me. And so it literally was like drinking from a fire hose. I met my guides. I fully expanded. And then came trance work. I was told that would happen, that I would start doing trance.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah.
And
That's literally the fire hose. So is your health now back to normal? Like all of a sudden?
Yeah. So the cool thing is that with the trance work that I've been doing, and that's another breathwork story where I did breath work and spirit blew me wide open, brought my light language in, started doing trance healing. Like it was crazy in this.
Ooh.
It had me turning and working on people. And so basically in doing that healing work, I've been healing myself. The spirit's been healing me. So I'm doing much better. And I still have, thanks, Sarah. Yeah, such a beautiful gift. I don't say I anymore. This body sometimes has seizures, but they're mild, they're short, they're spread out. I know how to deal with them. And it's like, it's interesting. One piece that I'll talk about is that before I did trance, I used to have this interesting little head nod. that I
Mhm.
would get, and
Yeah.
it would be like my brain would kind of have this weird feeling, and I'd get this little head nod, and I was like, I don't understand this. As soon as I started doing trance, that went away because
Wow.
they were trying to communicate, like they were trying to speak,
Wow. Oh my God,
communicate.
that's so cool.
I don't have a head nod. I just got shivers again. I don't have a head nod anymore. I used
Right,
to have
right,
one
right.
like
But it
thick.
was like your physical body reacting to the frequency trying to come through, right? I mean,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, that's Bernadette says your story gives me so much hope, and I think a lot of people that are tuned into the sacred spiral kind of know, that as
Yeah.
humans we have this power and this ability, and a lot of people haven't necessarily experienced um something so specific, right? So
Yeah.
that they know, right? But they want to. And I think that's what Bernadette is kind of referring to, because I'm kind of the same way, right? Like I don't believe this stuff. I know this stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't practice, and I don't really pursue, like I don't take intuitive development classes. But
I
again, and
understand.
I joke that I'm just waiting to like just wake up with that entity at the end of my bed saying, "All right, it's time," right? But
Yeah.
I will also say, you mentioned breath work, and something for me on a retreat I did last year. We were doing breath work, and I think that was probably the closest that I've come, right, to having that physical, um, in your body, out of your body experience, at the same time experiencing yourself as yourself and as the observer. There were so many layers to it, right? And it wasn't like a plant medicine retreat. This was just
Yep.
pure breath work.
Same. Same.
um and I do like you've just inspired me, right? Like I feel like that's going to be one of the keys for me, right, is to really
Yeah.
just let go into that breath work, you know, uh and get there, right? Because that's the other part I think of my challenge that I'm having is what's up, Mr.
Hey,
Lar?
Brian.
uh uh is letting go, right? Completely letting go,
Yes.
because
Yes.
there is that human side of me, that and all of those layers, right? That uh, I think gratefully I'm aware of a lot of those layers, so I'm able to, I don't think you ever shed them completely, but I'm able to lift them, right, and look past those
Yes.
layers, right? And I think,
It's a
yeah, Jennifer says breath work is so important.
It is.
um
Those layers, I feel like for me, it's like a spiral ascension, right? You're
mhm,
constantly revisiting things and moving
mhm,
upwards. And every time you revisit something, it's like you're changed,
mhm,
as long as you're
mhm.
open to what spirit can do in your life. And I love that breathwork did that for you. And
Yeah,
what spirit is, what I always tell my students, I've started mentorship, and I always say, like, that's my slogan. It's a full send with trust with spirit. Like, it's a full send in the trust department,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's like you just have to trust 100% that your
yeah.
team, God, source, like, they know what is best for you. And so
Right,
it's just
right,
opening up to that and being
right.
and listening and acting and responding accordingly, and it will all come.
You hit it on the head exactly, because for me, my experience was, um, once I got to a certain point in the breath work, I definitely kind of like, I felt the physical, like my body started twitching, and
Yes.
I felt this physical stuff happening that I was like, "Whoa, this is happening. I don't have any control of this." And there was like this initial, like almost like, what's happening? But then immediately there was this trust, there was this knowing that my body was releasing something, right?
Yes.
Like I was like, "Oh, that's what's happening," right? Like
Yeah.
it's releasing, and let it happen, and let it happen. And again, for me at that moment, that was happening. And the other aspect of the breath work that what I was explaining was like, I have to go to the bathroom a lot, right? And so, here we are within a couple of hours in, and I
Yeah.
really had to go to the bathroom. And so I was in this state, but I had to kind of muster the ability to go back down to reality and like be like, raise my hand for the helper, because they had somebody set,
Yeah.
to help you, and then get that help and take that break. And I think it was during that break that I experienced that both, right? Like I was watching myself kind of struggling to go into the bathroom. Not really, I wasn't struggling, but like,
I understand what you mean. It's the
eh,
separation. It's this separation that yeah, I understand.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was amazing. It was like, I was like, whoa, this must be what like ayahuasca is like, right? Like
Right?
it felt like that kind of experience. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of people, and it's really amazing. I've heard some amazing stories, right? And it's very intriguing. But I haven't personally been called, to it, and I'm cool with
Yeah.
that too,
It,
and if I am, I'll go,
yeah, it was cool because Spirit told me that I would go to a breathwork class, and I always say, Spirit, like, just bring it to me. I never look. And a friend called me 2 weeks later and said, "Hey, I'm doing this breathwork thing in my class," and I was like, "Yes, I will be there." So I
Totally.
went, and yeah, it was wild. Like Spirit had me like with my hands up, opening a portal above my body, and I was like, "Why are we doing this? Doing light coding?" And I was like, "I'd never done it before." It just happened. I just listened
And you
and
let go and you did it.
I
Yeah.
let go, and I was like, "Why are we doing this?" They're like, "Duh, like we're healing you." Like it was like, and
Amazing.
then they opened my crown chakra. We're healing the people behind you. They wanted me to roll to the people beside me. It was, yeah, wild, wild and amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do I see Bernadette's got a question, and maybe you have an answer. What's happening
Um,
spiritually when someone is stuck in an NDE state? I feel trapped. Everything feels like a dream. I am trapped. Everything feels like a dream.
yeah, near death
Interesting.
experience state. Is that what you're meaning, Bernadette? I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yeah, NDE, near death experience. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I understand that. It's like they would describe it as dissociation.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
it's like this liminal state. And that's where I
mhm,
would be with my seizures. It's like I'm here,
mhm,
I'm physically present, I'm understanding what's happening with my body, but I'm like pulled out of reality. And it's like
mhm,
everything is like visceral. Um, I think for me, the things that I did was I did nervous system regulation. So
mhm,
tons of grounding work, where I do barefoot walking. I literally sit with trees. I hold trees.
mhm,
Um, I do lots, breath work, guided meditations, but really listening to what my body needs in that moment
mhm, mhm,
and where I'm struggling. Like, it's like if you inherently listen to and ask, like, Spirit, what does my body need? What do I need right now? You will get the answer every time. And you may feel it in your body. You can also ask if you're feeling like tension or you're having a symptom. Now I talk to my body. I say, like, okay, like I'm feeling this, and I don't call it pain. I call it
mhm,
a sensation or a symptom.
mhm, mhm,
I'm like, okay, for example, hip pain. I used to get crazy hip pain.
mhm,
And now when it comes up, I know exactly what it's related to because I talk to my body. I say, I'm noticing the sensation. What do you like? Sometimes I give it a color, sometimes I give it a shape. And then I ask, what are you trying to teach me? What do I need to release in my emotions? What steps do I need to take in order to
mhm,
move this out of my body? Every
mhm,
single time,
mhm,
if you stop and ask, you will be, if you're really attune yourself to it,
mhm,
Spirit will give you everything that you need to move through things,
mhm,
to
mhm,
process.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. I agree with that, and I appreciate what you're saying there. And I actually, it's interesting because there's been some interactions happening on the show, and like I said, I'm not really a practicing psychic, right? But I'm certainly empath, and intuitive, and just
Mhm.
again connected. I have my own connection to source. I wanted to talk to you about the way that
Yeah.
you talked about religion and source and the words that you use. I think that's all really, really important.
Yeah.
And I think it's all very, very personal, right? And that's kind
It
of a way,
is.
it's a way to work through that relationship itself, you know what I mean, like, and to even understand that relationship. But Bernadette is saying something here, and I've seen Bernadette before on the show. We've spoken, Bernadette,
Mm.
and you're saying it's absolutely terrifying. I'm here, but I'm not here. It's been years now. I want to respond to that, and I also want you to. But I want to say that I think for me, and probably a lot of other people too, that COVID was very significant. And
Yes.
what was significant for me was, I think pre-COVID, before COVID, there was, there was still conspiracy theories, and there was still evil and good and all of this stuff happening, but there was, for me at least, a sense of certainty.
Yes.
And I think COVID came, and it took about a year, and then within that year, all of a sudden, like, I just felt nothing but uncertainty.
Yes.
And that was very, very disorienting, very, very frightening. And then, of course, there is the spiritual journey. I'm not a big fan of the terminology. I think life is a spiritual journey.
100%.
But awakening, starting to understand things, starting to go beyond the 3D world that you've been shown and taught, and starting to accept the idea of non-physical realms and things like that. And I think that also became a bit of a challenge to navigate, like, wow, I know all of these things are out there, but I've still, and this is also important with words, right?
Yes.
I've still gotta be a human, right? And it was when I was able to say, no, 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 I don't gotta be a human, I get to be a human.
Yeah.
and
Changing
and
that
and
language in your
changing the
brain.
perspective. So how I want to respond to you, Bernadette, my dear, is when you feel yourself being terrified and like saying, oh my God, what's going on, this isn't real. Like, I'm not saying it is. You're right. But don't let that become overwhelming and fear. Just ground yourself in the moment. Do the 3 breaths. Ground yourself in the 3D, because you are here in the 3D. You're That's what you're here for, to experience the 3D and get through that experience. So that terror that you're feeling is what you're supposed to be experiencing, but navigating. And
Yeah.
again, this is just my response to you, Bernadette, and Christina. You can respond too, but that's what I would say is, like, terrifying is okay, because terrifying is an emotion, and that's what we're here for, to experience all of that stuff, right? Emotions and perceptions, and be able to change perceptions. So that's one thing. Also, sorry. Another
That's okay.
thing
I'm going to
is,
make some notes.
yeah. Another thing is what I said about words being important, right? So you even
Yes.
saying out loud that you're terrified, Bernadette, that's creating that as the reality, right? That's you're saying it. You're telling the universe that's what you are. So I just feel like it's a matter of just being more aware of that energy that you're feeling and putting out, and take control of it. That's my response.
No, I'll piggyback back that 100% because I totally agree. So when I first got ill, um, I was absolutely terrified for a very long time. I was basically dead in my body and stuck and trapped. But over time, I learned how to speak about my body and about my symptoms, and recognize that my symptoms are not, um, uh, the symptoms are just part of waking me up to what I need to change in my life, or telling me what I need to process as a human being. Like I've done a ton of trauma work,
Mhm,
on my own, with plant medicine, I've done EMDR, has been massively helpful for me. Eye movement, I always reprocessing, desensitization. Is that right? Did I do that right? Or D first? So it's basically you do this, you go through specific traumas in your life, and you do
mhm,
this pattern of your eyes, or you hear a sound or see a flashing light.
mhm,
And that was massive for me for processing even the little things in my life that I didn't think were a big deal. Like, we all
mhm,
have
mhm,
trauma,
mhm,
every single
mhm,
one of us.
mhm,
If you're
mhm.
on this planet, you have
Agreed.
trauma.
Agreed.
And so it's like, instead now, like, if I can think, okay, if I have a seizure and it's a bad one, like sometimes, and I said I again. It's like, nope. If this body had a seizure, and it's significantly not good, um, I could go in my head and spiral and think, this is going to happen every day. This is horrible. I'm going backwards. I'm going to be paralyzed again. I'm not going to leave my house. I just had spirit showers. But now I'm like, thank you, Spirit, for teaching me in this moment. What do I need to learn from this? This is just a symptom. This is not, I'm not dying. And so in that moment, it's like, okay, looking at like, did I overdo it? Have I been spending time with source? Have I been grounding myself? And I think the part that I want to talk about, Bernadette, is you feeling out of your body and feeling dissociated and constantly like in that place. There's a lot of strategies that you can use. For example, like, the five senses, and like, what 3 things in this moment, what are 3 things I can hear? What are 3 things I can see? What are 3 things I can smell or taste or whatever, touch? We are a society now that is constantly on screens, and we are not living in our reality. And when we don't live in our reality, we are out of touch with our senses, and our nervous system is hijacked 24/7. So when you live in that place of constant nervous system dysregulation, you, of course, you're going to have symptoms. And my previous life, like I'm a special education, teaching is my background. So I work a lot with people with nonverbal children that I actually connect with and channel and bring through for them.
Oh, amazing.
I love that work. That's my favorite work.
That's amazing. That's got to be cool.
It's so beautiful. I just love it. It's so much. But, I was a teacher. I was volunteering. I was teaching musical theater. I was performing in semi-professional or, other community performances. I was overdoing it to the max. And then I was exposed to some things I shouldn't have been exposed to. And then I was running in a forest, and it just happened. But I am so thankful that it happened. Like, I would never change it, even though my life sometimes is hard. And my life was hard, but also it's perspective. It's like, okay, I get to live. My children now, my daughters are 14 and almost 12. And it's like, I get to be a mom. Like I get to have that beautiful relationship. And they're also learning mediumship. My 14-year-old has done some readings, and it's a blessing. Cool. It's changing your perspective, like you were saying.
Yeah, totally. And we can do that. It's not so difficult to do that. I mean, I certainly, and this isn't to say that things like depression aren't real, right? Like you can just snap out of it. There are certainly conditions, but I believe that those come from, like you said, trauma. And you said everybody has trauma, and I agree with that, but I don't think it's as bad as it sounds, right? Like that sounds like, oh my God, everybody has trauma. Like some of it's different. Everybody's trauma is different. Some of it is pretty bad, and you don't, you hear about it and you cringe, and some of it is minor, but it's still trauma to that person. One of the things before I ever did the breath work too, and I think this made it easier for me to kind of let go and experience it the way I did, was because I'm a video guy. I, produce videos. The guy my friend Hardy, who was running the retreat, probably a year before the retreat, maybe even a year and a half, I had no idea I was going to end up going on the retreat. He was doing some breathwork stuff here on Long Island where I am, and he wanted me to document it and do some interviews with the people. It was crazy to watch. Like I was like, what the hell was going on? People were screaming and crying and laughing, and like there was just so many things happening. And I walked away, and even though I feel like I'm very grateful that I feel like I've dealt with some of my trauma. I feel like I haven't had as much trauma as I see other people talk about, right, having. The thing I walked away was like, holy crap, the world needs healing. Like a lot of healing. The world needs healing. Everybody, no exceptions. And it was an interesting thing, to feel, but it was amazing to watch because there it is happening, right? Like it can happen.
Live.
live in front of me, right?
in front of
And
you.
yeah, amazing. And as an empath, I feel like that's, I've talked about that, like having a psychic fetish, because I don't go to psychics, but I love watching psychics read other people. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Because I can feel the energy.
Yes.
I see what's going on. So,
Yeah.
you know,
And it's interesting that you talk about like seeing and witnessing all the things that are happening, and we store everything in our bodies. Everything is stored in our tissues and our fascia. So yeah, and we I feel like it's definitely shifting, but
yeah,
I teach my girls now how to release things. I'm
yeah,
like, please cry, please have a meltdown. It's okay.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
all right,
yeah,
because you're moving it. You're not
mm,
shoving it under the rug and then having problems later, whether you have a big T trauma or a little T trauma. It doesn't matter. It's you
that's
need
right.
to process. That's the whole
That's right.
point of emotion.
That's
That's the
right.
whole point of emotion.
And
Yeah.
Bernadette, like I said, I think she's on that path. I think everybody watching this kind of stuff is. Bernadette says, she's in chronic pain. It's not always easy to snap from that, but she says, I definitely understand what you guys are saying. And again, that's important. Take that accountability. It's okay to be in chronic pain, right? Well, it's not okay, but like, don't like blame yourself for it, or don't wallow in that energy like, oh my god, this is so horrible. Like, pursue it and work with it and heal from it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
What
it's you can heal from it.
you can. I will say one thing, a couple just on that note quickly with the
Sure.
chronic pain. My pain was severe, next level severe, like take me to the floor, writhing on the floor pain. And what changed for me is I stopped calling it pain. I started calling it a symptom or a sensation.
Hmm.
I also increased my movement, if you're able to do that, because you get the energy out through the
Hmm.
movement, whether that's yoga, walking, or even just simple stretches.
Hmm.
And then for me, it was a meditation,
Hmm.
because all the research now is showing that like rewiring the brain for the pain is the key.
Hmm.
It's just basically an alarm system going off in your brain that you
Hmm.
can't shut off.
Right.
But meditation for me, body scanning meditations,
Hmm.
massive,
Hmm. Wow.
massively helpful.
Yeah. Amazing. I see a comment here from Lauren. I just signed on to listen, and I'm so grateful to hear this conversation. I get to live this human experience despite all the things I've been through, including debilitating disorders. I know that our bodies are divinely designed to change and heal itself, and remembering that we are absolutely perfect just where and how we are. Thank you for bringing this
Yeah.
conversation forward. Laureen, if that's how you pronounce it. Thank you, because I think that's, for me, and I think for you too, Kristine, right? That's a validation. Like, here I
Yeah.
am just showing up, just to specifically intending to have this conversation, not knowing that you're going to be out there to receive it. And boom, there you are. And
Yeah.
so I appreciate you being out there. And even again, it is true, right? Like, it is a matter of every morning when I wake up, I'm a human. There are mornings that I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to get out of bed,
Right.
like this or that. And then I'm like, oh, I'm doing this to myself. I realize, like, I
Yeah.
could just be like, woohoo, another day. It's amazing.
It's a
And
choice. It's a choice
it
you get to
really
make
is. You know what
in
I
your
mean?
mind.
Yeah.
You can choose to be like, "Oh, I have this and I have this and I have, the whole list. I have a
Yeah.
list, trust me. I have a
Yeah.
list." But I don't,
Yeah.
it's what you focus on, it's what you put your energy on.
Totally.
Definitely.
Totally
And
burned
one
it.
thing I want to oh, good for you for
Yeah, yeah.
painting.
I walk a lot. I paint. That helps. There you go. So, like, you already
Yeah.
know the secret, the
Yeah.
secrets.
I want
Yeah.
to say something about the healing briefly, is that the trance,
Sure.
that's why I love trance healing. And for me, my trance healing, it's comes from direct from source. Like that's my go-to. It's top down for me. And I've seen such transformation, like, and I feel like it's the new way. It's the new way of healing, is like, like it's, Reiki on steroids, and with Reiki, you can combine them.
Totally.
Um,
Totally.
it's the new way of healing. It's coming.
I
Yeah, it's
love
really.
that. I love
Mhm.
that. And Bernadette, you just said something that made me think of something. You said, I've visited the other side, and I know this is only a minute. My ancestors are with me always. So for one, that's a good thing, right? Perspective wise, to be like, all right, I'm not going to be in this pain for that long. It's only going to be a minute, and then I'm going to be back with my ancestors. That's a great positive way to look at it. But the other thing I want you to think about is you only got a minute. Enjoy the fuck out of it.
Yeah,
You
right?
know what I mean?
So
Like,
true.
yeah,
So
like, you
true.
know what I mean? Like, it's a minute and then you're back with your ancestors and you're gonna be like,
Yes.
damn, I wish I was human again.
You know, the one thing that my girls and I do every summer, and this is one thing that I did to get myself better, is I made myself like who is me list and like
Yeah.
what lights me up inside. So I had a list and I just sat and was like, what do I love to do? Who am I? So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I wanted to get a paddleboard for the ocean, got a paddleboard, started paddleboarding on my own when I could, you know,
Nice.
listening to music that I loved or painting that wall because you're like, I hate this color. Like, I'm changing this. You know, what lights you up inside and coming back? Like, you love dogs and you haven't gotten a dog. Well, get a dog, you know? It's really about coming, and spirit talks so much. Especially this spring, it was like a big theme. I find themes in in my messages, what I do with people. And of course it's specific to them, but it's like spirit talks so much about what lights you up and brings you back to your childlike self.
Right.
And that is the key to healing and to being human. Like that is the key to how to do this life.
Yeah.
100%.
Agree. And if you think about it too, and I've been thinking about this a lot, right? Because I used to play in bands my whole life growing up, and like there was a time where like that was it. And I realized later in life, like that's channeling, right? When you're in a band and you're playing music with 3 other guys and you're all connecting, you're all focused on a frequency and you're all there and you're all connecting, you're all channeling that moment.
Yep.
But also like, you know, as you get older, like you just start taking life way too serious, like the rent and this and that and the other thing, right? And so I'm just starting to get back out of that and be like, you know what? I'm gonna go travel. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that because, you know,
I only live this
that's
life
what I'm
here
supposed to
once.
do. Yeah.
Another in thing, this body.
Yeah, another thing you're saying too, right? And this is specific, right, to this specific go around, right? And it's that big question, like, well, who am I and what's my purpose, right? Here's the thing. You are you, I am me, but I said this better the other day. I you know, you always like part of the layers, right? I think that are put on you are one, comparing yourself, right, to other people, to what's out there, to what you're being shown, like, oh, look at that,
and society,
right? Well, I think you learn pretty quick that you cannot be any of that, right? Like I cannot be Johnny Depp, right? But here's the cool thing. Here's the thing that made me super happy. Johnny Depp cannot be me.
Right?
The only person that can be me is me. I'm the only one who can do it. And that that's just a beautiful way to kind of just center myself and just be like, all right, no more questions, right? Like, you know, no more comparisons, all of that stuff, you know? So,
yeah. And I in the spiritual world too, doing this work also, like if you're doing this work as well, like I just don't compare. Please don't compare yourself. You are uniquely you, and the way you do it is uniquely your way. And you are just exactly where you need to be. Don't compare.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Lorraine is adding, alchemical and transformational healing are the most helpful tools for humans to use, increase our personal frequencies and move beyond what has held us back. And I do believe, and I believe the audience believes that that's the time that we're in, right? We're in this time to choose. You know, fear or love, and you could look around easily and see a lot of people choosing fear all around you, but don't let that change you. Choose love, hold on to that love, be that love, right? It's like be the world you want to see, you know, be that love, be that love.
Yes, people always, I've had people say before, like, how come you always say honey and love and all the things? I'm like, because that's like, that's love personified, you know? And like when you go to the grocery store, like treat the person behind the desk or, you know, packing your groceries with love and kindness, because you don't know what they've been through. And we are all human. We are all
human,
imperfectly perfect.
All right. I'm going to ask you to maybe feel someone's energy. But before I do that, I'm going to answer Bernadette again. Bernadette, I love you, Bernadette. Bernadette, and I don't know if you remember, but you came to me with this question before, and we came up with the answer, right? What does Marilyn Monroe and Michael Jackson want from me? They've both been in my energy for a while. I don't understand them. We talked about you are a painter. We talked about coming up with some sort of interesting way, because we did talk about painting them, right? Like doing a painting, and you said, "Oh, but everybody does it." But combine it with this conversation of you being you. Nobody is going to paint Michael Jackson and Marilyn Monroe the way that you do it, however that is, however that comes out. And again, maybe it's a combination. Maybe you're supposed to paint them in a painting together. If it's coming through that strong, like, go with
Can,
that energy. So
can I say what I'm hearing? Can I give what I'm
please,
getting?
please, yes.
I'm hearing inspiration. They're coming to you for inspiration, because those people are outside the box people, and you are not an in the box person, and so they're coming to you for transpiring your own personal identity and your uniqueness, and making that relative to what you're doing in your life. And don't hold back on that. Just be truly, solely you, stepping into your power.
Totally. I agree. What's up, Lynn? Good to see
Oh,
you.
Lynn's so sweet. I've seen Lynn on her live. She's so great.
Lynn is amazing. Totally.
Yeah.
And okay, so I know early on, let me go back to the beginning. I know early on some people were interested in
You can just give me a name if you want. I can go psychic and or mediumship.
Okay.
I'll just see what comes in.
Now I feel like Sarah is a friend of yours, a follower who came with you, because you seem to be connected with her.
I don't know the Sarah that's been popping up. Don't know her.
Oh, Sarah. Okay, so she was early on asked.
No, I don't think I know Sarah.
Well, there you go. So I think she was literally the first person with that energy. So
Sarah, I'm understanding that you read tarot cards, and if you don't read tarot, that's something that you should be doing, because I see you being a master at it, like an absolute master. And I don't do tarot. I go straight to source, and so do you through your cards, but I just don't use them. But I'm seeing you being an absolute master at it. And I'm seeing you actually teaching tarot. So if that's not something that you're doing right now, that's something you need to be doing. And I'm seeing that the energy that's channeled through you while you're doing tarot, like, I have goosebumps, like, powerful. And you understand the cards and the messages, like, that people don't. It's like you understand the depth. There's such a depth there for you. Whereas some people may gloss over it and give surface level readings. You go deep, like deep. And the wisdom that's channeled through you while you're doing your tarot is very impactful. So just really, really trust that. Really, really trust that. Like, that's your niche, is what I'm hearing. Like that's your absolute niche. And take it bigger, make it bigger, take it outside the box. I'm seeing you like, let me listen for a second. I'm seeing you doing lives. I'm seeing you going, like, actually taking it to the street. I'm seeing you on the street level, like having a table, setting up your tarot, and you're calling people in almost like a street vendor, would do juggling or something. You're that person. And I'm seeing you standing up and almost like projecting it, like you're giving a performance. It's really beautiful and super powerful. And you'll call people in that way. So they want you to think outside the box for that. Good. They want you to think outside the box. Don't think of like, sitting in a one-to-one reading. They want it big, because your work is big. Your work is bigger than it is now. It's big, but they want it bigger, if that makes sense. Expensive. Yeah.
I love that. Wow, that came in really powerful. Really quick.
Did you feel the
powerful.
energy?
Yeah, I definitely felt the energy. And when you said that too, like, it was very easy for me to picture that energy almost like a street performer, right? But interestingly, because when you're a tarot reader, right, you kind of wait for people to come to you, but almost like being set up in the street, so like people are interested in being like almost like lining up, right? Like, oh my god, I want one, I want a reading, right?
I'm having undulating shivers. They're showing also that, like, you getting out, like, how with a card spread you'd sit behind the desk, right, and you'd kind of be stationary. They're showing you doing the spread, but also like moving through the crowd. and working the crowd and using the
Yeah.
cards in a way that's like tangible with the crowd, like almost like a magician would, almost like a magic trick. Like, I'm going to pull this card, and what card are you thinking of? I'm going to pull the exact card and I'm going to read you right here on the spot. And then you're going to
Wow.
someone else.
Totally.
So I'm not sure if you live in a place that's like, I'm getting a sense that you live in a place that it's warmer outside, that you're able to do that on a more regular basis. Like, for me, that would be more difficult because I live somewhere where it rains a lot of the year. I could do it in the summer, but this is a place where, like, yeah, find that spot and advertise where you're going to be and call the people in on a busy day. It's cool. I love that. Love that so much.
Amazing. That's wow. That was great. I'm connected to Merlin. Wow.
Awesome.
I love
That's
that.
that's where magician came in. So amazing. Okay, cool. So really, like, hone into that, and maybe there is a magic element that they want you to bring into this, and it did come through that way. So I love that. That's very cool.
Yeah.
And I'll look for you. I'll be looking forward to seeing your videos.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. I love this. Okay. So you know what? I
You
do see a
decide. Just
couple
give me a
people.
name.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you one more. We'll do one more because I feel like this is the perfect energy to just like leave people wanting more, because that I love that. You know what I mean? I thought that was great. Nice to meet you. I'm one of Kristine's students. Love the information here. Learning about Ben Moore, my amazing mentor. I feel so inspired. Tell us about that.
She's my student. She's one of my students.
Okay. But who's Ben? Is Ben
I think
Ben?
I think it was just a typo. She's probably
Oh, Ben. I've been. Oh,
Ben.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like Ben maybe.
She's in the deep south, so I think that's
I gotcha.
sometimes it comes through.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I was just thinking maybe that was somebody that you channeled. Now, you did talk about trance
Yeah.
a little bit. So just I know we're doing readings. I don't mean to break the energy, but that made me think of it because I didn't get to explore that part with you. Is that a specific entity? Is it different all the time, or?
It's different. So I have different guides. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. I have different guides that come in. I was told that I would do trance within 3 months, and then I did. I found a lovely group to practice with, and I sat in the energy for an entire 3 to 4 months. I think it was 3.5 months before they actually spoke through me. And so I have multiple guides that come through. I have 3 that will speak through me. I have one that is like he's like the head honcho almost. And he specifically comes in very powerfully during my healing sessions, my trance healing sessions. So with my trance healing, it looks different. I would say, I don't use the word shamanic because I feel like it's overused, but I'm a singer, so I use vocal toning. So they give me tones. I do light coding and language. I'm up out of my chair. I'm moving my body, and I almost feel like a wizard sometimes, holding the energy. And often I'm holding this energy for who I'm working on, or the world, or the group that I'm working on. And then I start with trance, and then basically that starts coming. Ascended masters come to work with me. I've had Shiva. Jesus comes often because I think because I had such a good relationship with him. And they have specific signs that they show me when they come in. It's like, it always kind of shocks me. And then what happens is I do what I've never been trained in it, but Spirit just gave it to me. I'm like weaving, like psychic surgery, I guess you'd call it, where I'm weaving the tissue together. I'm pulling out like stagnant energy or things that might be maybe possibly related to cancer. I've done DNA upgrades. I've worked on people's, I once worked on a man who was paralyzed from the waist down from a surgery. And on the second session, he was moving his legs 20 minutes later. This work is powerful.
Amazing.
And then I often drop deeper into trance, and then I give a message. So after I've done what I've done, they show me, they move my arms. I just am a conduit. And then they drop me deep into trance. So once I'm kind of done my work, I know it's done. They have me back my hands off. I just kind of pull away, and then I go back into a really deep trance. And then sometimes just is like, boom, like my head actually falls. because it takes a number of minutes to get there. Sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer, but then they speak a message for the person,
Mm,
specifically like what they worked on, why they worked on it, what
mhm,
emotional
mhm,
healing
mhm.
needs to be done, what their role is in life, or like just like a healing message. And then I record that and then I send it to them.
Mm.
So I have it all.
Wow.
And so yeah, that's basically what it looks like. That's like my jam.
I,
I
it's
love
it's
it.
it's amazing. And what I love too is like it's really, it's hard these days, right, to be discerning about who you believe and who you don't. I think
Yeah.
I've been cursed, well, that's probably not the right word to use with,
No.
I have a hard time denying anybody of their experience, right? So whatever you're going to tell me, I'm going to be like, well, I wasn't there. I can't say no, right? Like that didn't happen. But
Yeah.
but I guess for me, what's coming through for me is really powerful, really
Yeah.
authentic, which I think is important, right? And I think it's it's almost a matter of like you're not preaching any of it, right? You're just even you're even
No.
amazed by it. You're just like, oh my
Oh, it
god, I
shocks
don't even
me.
know what's going on. It's just so cool,
Yeah.
and I think that's, for me, that's totally how I want to experience it, and kind of how I do experience it,
Yeah.
um, and
It's not
I
a, it's the thing is, it's, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, that's fine.
It's not, it's not about me. It has nothing to do with me. Like nothing. Like I didn't ask for any of this,
Yeah.
but I am like a servant of spirit. I really am. Oh, hi Nancy. I really am a servant of spirit and I always have been. And it's like for me it just looks differently now, but it's so expansive and like spirit wants that for you. Like I started doing animal communication just off randomly off the cuff like a number of weeks ago and now it's like flooding in. I'm getting all the animals. Like
Wow.
once you expand and you allow, there's like it's not, I'm just a channel. I'm just this person that I'm so blessed. Like I feel teary. Like I'm so blessed
Yeah, I
to be
love
able
that.
to do this. Like it's crazy. I would have never expected this in my entire life. Like I used to be like medium, like like that's fake.
I
Oh
love what you're
my God.
saying because I love it because I feel that about this right here, right? Just being a host of a show, I never wanted to freaking do that.
Right?
You know what I mean? And the response and the energy that reflected back to me was just so powerful that it just, like, I make sure I'm here every week, and now I'm doing it
Right?
twice a week, and
Mhm.
it's, yeah, it's just, it's amazing. And
Spirit is using you. Spirit
yeah,
wants to work through
absolutely.
you. Yeah, and it's so
Absolutely.
beautiful. So
I
beautiful.
definitely want to, have you back because there's so many things that you brought up that I think are important to talk about. Specifically, right at the beginning, you were talking about your religious background and how you
Yeah.
crossed it over into a spiritual background, and I think that's an important conversation too, because it's sometimes it's a bridge, but also sometimes it's a challenge for other people to challenge the religion that they've been brought up with, and
Yeah.
just also, I guess, just kind of general conversation about religion, right? And how what it is and how it is. And I think
Yes,
that's an important conversation to have. And
it is.
I love the way you were framing it, and your relationship with God and source, and I love that you're using both of those words, because I think that's also important for people to understand. So that's one thing. And then we didn't get to do a lot of readings. I would love to
I know
have you
I'd
do
love to
readings.
do more. I would love to
Yeah,
do
and
more.
just
So
just again, I feel like, I've just barely scratched the surface with you, and I'm really excited to have met
thank you.
you. Thank you for coming on the show,
Thank you,
and
Michael,
sharing a little bit of who you are. I can't wait to find out more
so much. I
about you.
feel so
And
blessed. And I
yeah,
just want to say bless you to everyone that is here. Thank you so much for being here. And I just bless you on your journey wherever you are in life. Thank you so much.
yes, totally, totally.
Thank
We,
you,
and
Michael.
Lorena is saying we have so many gifts yet to be explored, and I think, again, that was the other thing I wanted to say to you about,
Yeah.
you channeling guides and entities and energy, and getting messages, but specifically getting messages for individuals in order to heal them, right? And then the idea of that versus the idea of healing, um on a different level, kind of like I'm a big fan of Bashar, right? Like I feel like Bashar is less about individual messages and more about
Yeah, the
collective,
global
a
perspective.
collective message. So
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting thing too, to talk about how these entities come through, because I think there's both sides of that, right? And like you said, everybody kind of needs healing on an individual level. It's different for everybody.
That's right.
And I think that's an important thing. Wow, this has been great, Kristine. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been awesome. I've really enjoyed it. I'm like, how many more hours do we have?
Yeah, I you know what, maybe I'll expand my show. The website is scrolling down. I can add it to the video description on YouTube. Bernadette, absolutely. One of the big thing is connecting people. That's just something that I've noticed throughout my life, like just introducing people, and then like weeks later, like they're working on some crazy great amazing project together, and I'm like, oh wow, look at that.
Right,
I was a conduit,
I will say that I do on social media. I am on TikTok and Instagram, the Seaside Medium, and I'm just starting those platforms. So if you want to come and follow me, I would appreciate it.
Be a part, help it grow, help
Yeah.
Kristine get her message globally. And I also want to just say to a couple of people, because I noticed there was a lot of great conversation in the chat room. And sometimes, Sarah, I think you started telling your story about talking to spirit and everything. And sometimes I'm not ignoring you guys, but like, I'm holding space for Kristine and we're in the middle of a story. So it's just not the right moment. I will say this, I'll change my banner for just a minute while I say this. And that is, do you have a story that's interesting and unique that you'd like to share? Reach out to me and I'll have you as a guest. I would love to hold space for you. I feel like one of the big things, my other show, Live Stream of Consciousness, the thing I would say was we all have a piece of the puzzle, and that was the purpose of that show, was to have a guest on to show us that piece and say, hey, do I fit with that piece? Do I go over here? Like, where? It's all part of the same picture, but you got to figure out where you fit in that picture. So that's really holds true. So if you do have a story, reach out to me, Mr. Z1@AOL.com. That's my email. I would love to hear from you. And thank you guys for being here and sharing your energy and exchanging energy. That's what this is all about.
Great.
And Kristine, if you want to just stay tuned after the credits, so we can talk. And
thanks, everyone.
I'll see everybody on Thursday. On Thursday, I have Ashley Page on the live stream of consciousness.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, she was in the audience, and she's like, I want to come talk, and I'm like, I want to hear your story. Come on. So on Thursday, live stream of consciousness. I'll see you guys there.
Good.
Peace, guys. Bye.